It's a new beginning. It's a new book. It's the book of Devarim. In English, Deuteronomy. But the commentators call it a different name. They call it Mishnah Torah. It's the repeat of the Torah. Because Moshe Rabbeinu is telling over the stories and the journeys of the Jewish people during the 40 years in the desert. You see, he's about to pass away. The Jewish people are about to enter into the promised land. And Moshe Rabbeinu, in the last moments of his life, spends time with the Jewish people, revising, reminiscing, telling over the highlights, the experiences, the low events and experiences of the Jewish people in the desert during their 40-year journey. Why is it so important? Because the future of the nation rests on the history of the people. They can't move forward into Israel without knowing and remembering and revising the history and the journeys of the Jewish people throughout the desert in the 40 years. The future is dependent on the past. It's so important that we as parents and grandparents, that we do the same for our children and our grandchildren. So often, we take it for granted and we think that our children know our history, or that our children know the history of their grandparents, where they come from, where they were born, where their bar mitzvahs were, where their weddings were, how they were educated on all subjects, but in particular on Judaism. We take it for granted and we think that they know it all. And you know what? Our children and our grandchildren don't know it all. It's our responsibility to actually discuss it with them, to tell over the stories, to share with them, to reminisce, to revise. Just like Moshe Rabbeinu did with the Jewish people before he passed away, we've got to do it long before we pass away. Please God, we should be alive and well and tell over those stories. You know why? Because the future of our children is dependent on our history. When they know the stories and the backgrounds and the experiences and our upbringing, they will know how to forge their way forward and continue the legacy of our families into future generations. That's the message of Devarim. Tell over the stories, Shabbos tables, Sunday walks, opportunities to tell over these stories so that they can use the history and the stories to forge their way forward into the future. Shabbat Shalom.